Hey everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language expert, and today we're going to be analyzing more behavior and body language from Bryan Kohberger during his sentencing. Before we get started with this, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go. What we're going to be looking at today is Bryan Kohberger's reaction to victim impact statements as well as to his sentencing. All right, let's just jump right in.
All right, this is CR0124316665, State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. Defendant is present in custody with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoth, Ms.
Last time we watched Bryan Kohberger, he was pleading guilty. He was very emotionless. He was very cold. We'll see if it's the same this time. From what I can tell so far, it looks like that's pretty much what we're going to get from him. But let's see if we have any reaction while he's listening to the victim impact statements.
I'll be speaking on behalf of Bethany, and so, yeah, here it reads. My name is Bethany Funk, and I was roommates with Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Never in a million years would I have thought that something like this would have happened to my closest friends. I thought that we were going to wake up and go upstairs, see them, and tell them how they had scared us, and that.
Now, one thing that we're seeing that's the same as always is that he has this intense stare. Whenever he's focused on something, he just stares straight ahead, moves very little. We're actually seeing a lot more blinking than we normally do. It's not dramatically high, but it's certainly more than he usually does because he can stare for long periods with zero blinking. We're not seeing that yet.
When I first woke up that morning, I had no idea what happened. I woke up around 7.
Now, we just caught a really interesting bit of body language from Bryan Kohberger. Watch this. When she said that she woke up and she didn't know what happened, watch this right here.
I first woke up that morning. I had no idea what happened. You
saw him bunch up. I think there was some excitement in that when he heard that described. Sorry, I know this is going to be a hard video for some people to watch because there's a lot about him that I think is tremendously perverse. But you saw the shoulders raise up. Now, some people might interpret that as anxiety, and it can be, but that seems more like when people hunch their bodies over. He's bringing his shoulders up. I think there's excitement here when he heard her say that.
When I first woke up that morning, I had no idea what happened. I woke up around 7 with a terrible toothache. So I called my dad, who is a dentist. This will be. That was the worst day of my life. And I know it always will be. While I was still in shock, trying to process.
So you're not seeing any emotion on the face, nothing in the brow, nothing in the eyes, nothing in the mouth, nothing he's doing to soothe himself. But you are seeing, and you have to look pretty closely to see this, he's breathing heavier now. When he has someone crying, I think that that's exciting to him. That makes the heart pump harder. So seeing somebody cry, watching this, I suppose you could interpret that as him being stressed by it. I don't think so. I'm not seeing anything that suggests that he's pacifying himself. The heavy breathing, I think, has more to do with his heart pumping faster and excitement than anything else.
While I was still in shock, trying to process the fact that my friends were truly gone, I had been attacked by the public. I was grieving, numb, and unsure of what had happened was even real. And at the same time,
I skipped ahead a little bit, and you can see that he still has this heavy breathing.
Or alone in my house. I was scared that the person who did this would come for me next. I was always scared that the media would try to catch me at any moment of any day. She was the life of the party. But she was also the kindest and funniest person I knew.
Now, that's the first time I've caught him actually looking at this camera, the one that's observing him. As she was crying, there was something that in him he started thinking about and was reminded of the fact that he's being watched. Check this out right here.
But she was also the kindest and funniest person I knew. Everyone loved her because she made everyone feel so loved. She was just...
And just to be clear, he maybe was acknowledging this camera, but what he's not doing is showing any signs of sadness, remorse, anything. He's not feeling any shame. We're not seeing any body language associated with any strong emotions, other than at times I think that he has enjoyed this. And I know that's awful to say, but that's what I'm observing, that heavy breathing, the way that he's focused, the way that we're not seeing anything else. I think that, as I had predicted, I think he enjoys these victim impact statements. He gets a front row seat to this, and as nauseating as that is, I just think that's the way it is.
Ethan was the sweetest, most genuine guy. He was always smiling and always making other people smile too. Ethan was the kind of person you wanted around.
Now what we're seeing is that she's talking about Ethan, and we're seeing something going on with the mouth. Now he's trying to soothe himself. He may be feeling very uncomfortable with him talking about Ethan. Maybe there's jealousy there.
Other people smile too. Ethan was the kind of person you wanted around. He was so kind and easy to talk to, and just so fun. And the way he cared for Xana was truly something to admire. And really was proof.
You're also seeing him move his chair a little bit. So talking about the female victims, he seems to maybe enjoy a little bit. Maybe a bit of jealousy that they're saying positive things about another male, particularly as it relates to Xana.
Exist. It was not only obvious to me, but everyone that was around Ethan and Xana that they were absolute soulmates. Maddie was not only one of my best friends, but she was.
Now you see him looking away. This is also something he hasn't done. So there's something about talking about Ethan and Xana together that seems to agitate Bryan Kohberger. Now he feels less inclined to stare and to pay direct attention.
Thank you. And please convey to Bethany my appreciation for her courage, and I hope that she heals.
Did you see how he closed his eyes for a long time? We do that when we think about things that we don't like. So as he said that he hopes she heals, you saw him close his eyes. I'm not so sure that he agrees with the judge's sentiment there.
I hope that she heals.
Next is Dylan Mortensen. We're asking for some accommodations for Miss Mortensen and that she be allowed to sit in my seat.
Because of him, for beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason.
You saw a head nod. Four beautiful, compassionate people were taken from this world. He's acknowledging what he's done, not showing any sympathy for it, no remorse, nothing other than the fact that he's acknowledging that he did this.
Genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no.
See that right there? Nodding his head. So he's to him, that's a powerful thing to do. He's acknowledging what he's done. As I've said, and I'm going to keep repeating, there's no regret or remorse from any of this. This is something that he wanted to do. I think he's proud of what he's done. So when he hears about it, he probably feels pride about that.
No reason. He didn't just take their lives. He took the light that carried it into every room. He took away how they made everyone feel safe, loved, and full of joy. He took away the ability for me to tell him that I love him and that I'm so proud of them.
You see him just continuing to stare, and that's something that we're going to see over and over again. In some ways, this is very similar to when he pled guilty. In other ways, we're getting a little bit more reaction in certain situations. We're not seeing him avert his gaze out of shame. We're not seeing him look away at times appropriately because he's uncomfortable. He's just taking it all in. That's the simplest way I can put it, is that he's absorbing everything that's being said right now. There's no emotional reaction that shows that this is impacting him the way that victim impacts statements impact the rest of us as we're listening to this. The feelings that we have, I cannot overstate how the way that he's reacting suggests this is just an empty void, that there's no part of him that all of a sudden is connecting with this, that's feeling something, that's acknowledging what he did in a way that isn't somehow remorseful. There's nothing that would suggest even a tiniest bit of that right now.
All of it is gone. And all the people who love them are just left to carry that weight forever.
We're going to skip ahead a little bit. I'm going to be skipping around throughout this video because the victim impact statements are so voluminous that I just want to catch certain bits of it. But just understand, if it jumps, that's what's happening.
All I can do is scream because the emotional pain and the grief is too much to handle. My chest feels like it's caving in. Sometimes I drop to the floor with my heart racing, convinced something is very wrong.
As she was describing that, you saw him straighten up a little bit. I think that there's some pride that we saw there. He raised his chin slightly, which is sort of a universal symbol of pride. We leave our neck vulnerable when we do that. That shows that we're sort of turning our nose up to things. Right now, it wasn't very dramatic. It wasn't very strong, but I do think that as he was adjusting himself right there, that was a bit of pride showing through.
With my heart racing, convinced something is very wrong. It's far beyond anxiety. It's my body reliving everything over and over again. He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive?
There was another indicator that looks like, once again, that he's feeling pride. You see the chin go up right here.
What if next time I don't survive?
You saw him scooting in his chair a little bit. I think the internal feelings for him are so intense that he does have sort of a hard time sitting still.
He may have shattered parts of me, but I'm still putting myself back together and heartbroken, but also strangely grateful. Like maybe in some way that dream gave us the goodbye we never got. Still, no dream can replace them, and no goodbye will ever feel finished.
Now, God, I in some ways I hate to say some of the things I'm going to say on this, but I really want to tell you exactly what it is that I think I'm seeing. After she said that, you see him leaning his head to the right a little bit, and that's more the direction that she's facing. I think that hearing this from her talking about this makes him feel closer to her. I don't know how else to say it, but I'm trying to tell you exactly what I see. And there's just such a deep level of perversity here that it's hard to describe, and it's something that I think it's hard for a lot of folks to actually fully appreciate and understand the depth of depravity and perversity that we're dealing with and that we're looking at right now.
In some way, that dream gave us the goodbye we never got. Still, no dream can replace them, and no goodbye will ever feel finished. He is a hollow vessel, something less than human, a body without empathy, without remorse.
You saw a very brief nod. I think he may actually agree with that to some extent.
Next, we have members from the Madison Mogen family. First would be Scott Laramie, Madison Mogen's stepfather.
This is the first time a male is coming to speak, and he is reacting to that. He's trying to create distance. We do that physically. We lean back. We push ourselves back because we want to create distance. There's something about the dynamic between him and men and him and women that's very, very different. As he's walking up, you saw him bunch his lips up. We do that when we disapprove of something. He doesn't want to have to listen to men speak about this because I don't think he's going to enjoy it. There was that disapproval.
Standing by him is Karen Laramie, Vincent's mother.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Scott Laramie. I'm Maddie Mogen's stepfather and the husband of Maddie's mother, Karen Laramie. I will read this victim impact statement on behalf of Karen and myself. Maddie was our gift of life, our purpose, and our hope. Maddie quickly became Karen's.
If you'll notice, he's starting to look more through his eyes like this. His chin is going down. He's feeling more defensive with men around.
Joy, identity, and purpose in life. I joined Maddie's life when she was 2.5 years old. The experience transformed me into a life of joy, love, and family. Maddie was bright, beautiful, kind, empathic. She listened carefully to others and was observant, seeing and caring.
Now, you just saw him glance at the camera again. I don't think that he wants people to know that he feels weak right now, so he is trying to pay attention to his body language. He's trying to make sure that he doesn't do anything that gives off the impression that he feels threatened by other men.
About the hearts and the minds of all she encountered. She loved music and music festivals. She had a wonderful sense of humor She excelled in school.
See, he's blinking more. You see him moving around. He's not enjoying this. When women are suffering, he's enjoying it. When men are being confrontational, it is really feeling like a challenge to him. So I just don't think that he's enjoying this at all, unlike the first two victim impact statements.
As she transitioned into teenage years, she prioritized us and extended family over many of the distractions that capture teenagers.
See, he just can't keep his eyes still. If you look at the last victim impact statement, he was dialed in 90% of it. This time he's looking around, he's moving his mouth. It's very uncomfortable.
First, we felt disbelief. Next, we felt disorientation.
Watch Bryan Kohberger's face when he talks about all of the lives that were taken.
Felt disbelief. Next, we felt disorientation.
See, he took a deep breath in. It's almost like he's just enjoying it too much. Once again, now he's back to enjoying what he's hearing. This is making him feel powerful again.
Then we felt grief overcome us. Our grief is compounded even more for the Goncalves, Kernodle, and Chapin families. We speak of hope and healing.
Now, if you watched his eyes, he was searching, I think, for those other families as he was reading that off, because he stopped looking at him, started looking over to the right, looking at the gallery. So he's wanting to see more reactions. This part he may be enjoying more.
Grief is compounded even more for the Goncalves, Kernodle, and Chapin families. We speak of hope and healing, and we do have hope and some healing. As for his sentence, we support the plea agreement. Society needs to be protected against this evil. As for the defendant, we will not.
Did you notice that he was nodding his head? Society needs to be protected against this evil. Fascinating that he's agreeing with some of these statements, but you can see a very clear head nod.
Society needs to be protected against this evil. As for the defendant, we will not waste the words, nor will we fall into hatred and bitterness.
Actually, Your Honor, it'll be Kim Cheeley, the grandmother of Maddie Mogen.
See, a female's getting ready to come and do her victim impact statement. You see him scooting forward. He doesn't physically really get closer, but it's the idea that he wants to be closer to this. Ugh.
We Mogens were lucky to have her for holidays and many other family gatherings. We'll always have our treasured memories of Maddie growing up in our big, extended, cooperative family. And I thank Karen and
Now, for some reason, contempt came across his face just now. We haven't seen this yet, or at least I haven't noticed this yet. But right now, there's a very distinct look of contempt if you watch the corner of his mouth. It's the only emotion that happens on one side of the face.
our big, extended, cooperative family.
So something about talking about a big, extended, cooperative family, there seems to be contempt about that. Very interesting.
Thank Karen and Scotty Laramie for being so generous and open and sharing Maddie with her Mogen side of the family.
Today we are here to prove to the world that you picked the wrong families. The wrong state, the wrong police officers, the wrong community. You tried to break our community apart. You tried to plant fear. You tried to divide us.
You're not seeing him blink at all right now. He's dialed in. He is not liking this.
You failed. Instead, your actions have united everyone.
And then when he said you failed, you saw him lean forward because he took that as a challenge. And now he seems angry.
Our community apart. You tried to plant fear. You tried to divide us. You failed. Instead, your actions have united everyone in their disgust for you. I just learned from these lead investigators, to their shock, they worked in an investigation and actually worked with the Pennsylvania police officers and the federal FBI.
You're still seeing no blinking. Once again, this is the first time he's really felt challenged in this way, and he is just dialed in. He's angry. He's frustrated. He is not liking anything that's being said right now, and he takes it as a challenge.
You united everyone. Everyone was united after you.
You do see a nod with that, too.
None of us are divided. We are united in our disgust.
Then you saw a brief flash of contempt again. Watch the corner of his mouth right here.
We are united in our disgust and our love for these children. Today you have no name. Because when this all started, we all came together and we said, let's stop even talking about his name and just use initials. So even the media just calls you BK. Police officers tell us within minutes they had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid.
Now you're seeing the blink rate pick up. Now he's really not happy.
You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid. Master degree, you're a joke, complete joke.
He's having a very hard time sitting still. Blinking's picking up. You're seeing him move more in his chair. He's really getting to him, I think.
But we took this disaster and we did what we could. From this moment, we will forget you. We want to all leave in.
Do you see that little twitch? That tends to happen when we're trying to hide a reaction. So if there's something that his body wants to do, but he's trying to rein it in, he's trying his best to suppress any kind of reaction right now. Of all the victim impact statements so far, this seems to be the one that's really getting to Bryan Kohberger.
We will forget you. We want to all leave in closing. One last thing. You picked the wrong family.
All right, Ms. Jennings.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next family is the family of Xana Kernodle. And first would be Jasmine Kernodle.
Now you'll notice that as soon as they talked about Xana Kernodle's family coming up, his elbows moved right back out. He was sitting with them in his lap, and then he moved them onto the chair. The goal of this is to appear as big as possible. I get that sometimes we sit that way for comfort, but I don't think that's why he did that just then. I think that that's because he wants to feel big, he wants to feel important. It helps him feel powerful to keep his arms out like this.
All right, Ms. Jennings.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next family is the family of Xana Kernodle. And first would be Jasmine Kernodle.
Just want to say thank you to everyone who's been involved in this and just for all the hard work and dedication you guys have put into this. I also want to thank everyone for the support and just my family and friends who've been around through this time.
Now, that was interesting. Once he starts thanking everybody for all of the efforts they're putting in, he moves his shoulders in. He feels uncomfortable with this. So there are definitely things that are getting to him about this, and he feels less inflated. He doesn't feel as confident and as important as she's talking.
All right, Mr. Kohberger, you have an opportunity to make a statement if you wish to. I take it you are declining.
I respectfully decline.
He's so robotic. If you've ever seen him talk before, this is nothing unusual, but he's talking to the judge. He leans over. He does not break his gaze during any point of that time. I don't think he blinks either, but he's just very, very robotic, very unemotional during all of this.
Go. Please.
He's got a weird dichotomy. It's like on the one hand, he wants to follow the rules and show people he can follow the rules. On the other, he wants to be a psychopath and do all of these awful things. But I do think that he wants to live in both worlds at times.
Well, criminal behavioralists should study him away from the spotlight in an attempt to prevent other would-be killers from acting on their worst impulses. There should be no need for that to spill over into the public eye.
So I hear what the judge is saying, that the media should not constantly talk about Bryan Kohberger or put a spotlight on him. Essentially what I'm doing right now. But there's an aspect of that I disagree with, which is that I think that this helps people protect themselves against others like him. Maybe they aren't psychopaths that are as severe as him, but really understanding people that function so differently than normal people is incredibly important, and seeing their reactions and understanding their reactions. So while I do agree that we don't want to hold Bryan Kohberger up and glorify anything that he's done, I do think analyzing him, talking about him, and looking at what he's done helps us protect ourselves from other people like him.
I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 5 for the first-degree murder of Ethan Chapin, I sentenced the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without.
So as he continues to go on, we're not seeing anything different. There is no reaction. He's just dialed in. He's staring at the judge. He's locked in. I don't think that at this point he feels much. Any feelings he had around this, he's probably processed earlier. It's much harder to know how you're going to feel when you're actually facing the families of the victims. When it comes to this, I think he's already thought about this. He's already felt it. I just don't think we're going to see anything right now.
The possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. The sentences on counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shall run consecutively to one another. Restitution will be left open for 60 days. Defendant will be required to submit a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression to the Department of Corrections and comply with the DNA Database Act.
All right, we'll go ahead and stop here. Hopefully this is helping you better understand some of the behavior and body language that we saw. Most of what we saw was that, unfortunately, and this is what I had expected, there was some degree of enjoyment when it came to the victim impact statements, particularly when women spoke. It seemed that men challenged him. He didn't like that. He seemed bothered when men spoke. So he didn't seem to enjoy the whole thing, but unfortunately, this is someone who is incapable of empathy, remorse, grief, any of these kinds of feelings. He's just completely devoid of them from what we can tell. But fortunately, he will be in prison for the rest of his life, and there's nothing that's going to change that. If you have any other thoughts about this, or if there's anything else you want me to analyze, please let me know in the comments below. Last thing before we get finished up is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, thanks for watching.